I can
Good
see everybody
evening,
but
Word on the Curb
Sherry. I don't see
podcast.
Sherry.
She'll be back. Good evening, Word on the Curb podcast. Family and friends, thank you for joining me. Tonight I have the magnificent four here: Dosha, Shona, Jonette, and Sherry. And we are doing our thing. So thank you for joining us here. And we are going to get started. Tonight we're talking about, I want to first remind you that we're on YouTube. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share. Put our business in the street. It's okay this time. At least you'll be dealing with facts. So please put our business in the street. Hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell folks about us. Let them know, that we're here and what we're doing. And I'd also like to ask you to join us on Facebook. We're on Facebook Live tonight, right now. We're on Facebook. We're at Word on the Curb. We're at the Black Girls Locker Room, and we are at What Trenton Really Makes. So you can see us there. You'll also be looking at this podcast a little bit later on Apple Podcasts. Yep. This will be transferred
All
over to
right.
Apple. You're going to be able to see and hear us there. We're talking square biz. We're talking real business. And so tonight, this is the Sister Circle. And a sister circle can consist of biological sisters and sisters that you meet through friendship, love, trust, honesty, and transparency. Sisters are sisters. However, we're going to talk a little bit about this because everybody ain't for everybody. And
Facts.
right,
Mm.
right. And in building your sister circle, you have to be careful about the things you're doing and who you're dealing with. And so thank you for joining us here. We're going to start with Jonette. Please introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about you, and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Jonette Smart. Um, I am a community activist. I've been retired from the state of New Jersey for a few years now. Um, and I like to deal with, let's see, social justice issues. Um, Social justice are civil rights. That's been my go-to for some time, a few years now. And I'm active in the Trenton community um, with those things, and some other things, but mainly my focus is on civil rights and social justice.
All right, all right. And in case you don't know, that's real important. And part of social justice involves people voting. If you're not
Absolutely.
voting, I don't know what you're doing. You can't get caught up in, I don't like this and nothing has happened as a direct result of that. Look at the policy that's impacting us. Take a look at our communities. Jonette, over at Mount Zion, they have a phenomenal social justice program.
They do.
They have a phenomenal program. And I want to shout out Reverend Boyer
Absolutely.
in that because it's nonpartisan
Mm-hmm.
and they're very, very active with the social justice piece.
They are.
In policy, especially, and policy is what
Mm-hmm.
impacts us the most. So, Jonette, thank you. Appreciate
You
you.
will.
Shauna, come
Hello,
on.
everybody. I am Shona, and let's see how I would describe me. I'm also over the top. I can be, However, I love community things. Community. I'm a part of a group called FAST. We deal with the Trenton school systems, and you do a lot of different things in the communities. Far as like seniors and things like that. So I've been a part of that committee for, oh goodness, I couldn't tell you how long, doing things inside the schools and in the community. So that's a big, big thing. I like to give back that way, volunteer and assist wherever I can. But that's just a little about me. I mean, I'm a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a favorite to a lot of people.
I love it. I love it.
That's true. She is. She
I
is.
try to be. I try to be.
Come on,
Just fun
Dosha.
loving though. But that's just a little bit about me. Mm.
Yeah. Dosha?
Yes, I'm Dosha Brown. I am, of course, a mom, a sister. Uh, I am a director of supportive housing now at Center for Family Services. I'm currently interning at Mill Hill as a uh, intern and as a therapist. And my goal is, and has been for a while, I never knew that until later on in life, that it's about our mental health. And that has a lot to do with our women in our community. We deal with a lot, we carry a lot. So that has been my goal. I didn't know I was doing the mental health and the counseling piece until people would say, you dropped jewels. And I'm looking at people like, what? What did I say? So I really believe in that for us, and especially in this time in our lives and the things that we're going through. But I also like to have fun. Go Cowboys.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh
Look, look,
no.
look at Mrs. Smart. Look at Mrs.
Oh no. Oh no. Eagles. Eagles.
You know I had to do it. You know I had to do it.
I know you had to do it. I know you had to do it. It's fun. I love football, and it's good to be on a podcast with women who love football. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's a good thing. I love football. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, Sam Frisbee and I are trying to arrange either a tailgate
Don't
or
do it.
a community where,
She said,
where the
don't do it.
Cowboys, where the Cowboys and Eagles can come together and have some wings and
That's
pizza and
dangerous.
share the two games that we're going to play. I think it'll be interesting. But let's talk about this circle. Let's talk about this circle, and how it happens for us. And when I say everybody ain't for everybody, that's real. They're not. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't build circles of women that we can trust, learn, and grow with. Because if you're in a circle and you're the smartest person in that circle, that's not your circle. If you're in a circle and nobody's motivating you, encouraging you, putting you up, pulling you up, sharing with you, that's not your circle. So there are different circles. You might have a circle that's just entertainment, and that's fine. That's not your inner circle. And we talked about that before. So tell me what you think everybody ain't for you means, Dosha.
Wow. That's a lot. Everybody is not for me. I mean, I had, and I'll say, because of my worldview, I believe God has me in this place of now isolation where I'm building new circles, i.e., this podcast, i.e., different things that are happening in my life that people don't see that are going on behind the scenes. And so when everybody is not for me, means that you said something that was correct, and my pastor preaches about it. And one of the things he says is that if you're the smartest person in your circle, like you just said, that's not your circle. I believe circles are where I'm going to grow. Yes, I have entertainment circles. Yes, I have other circles where I don't just kick people to the curb. But what I do is, I know those people are not going to help me grow. I really believe that being around like-minded individuals, if you're smarter than me, I'm not afraid to learn. I'm call myself a professional student. I'll never stop learning. I'm going to always be in a posture of a student. So, no, everybody's not for me. I really believe that I treat it like a relationship. Um, there's the part where we meet, we introduce each other, we find like interests, we try to get to know each other. Will there be a commitment or won't there be a commitment? It depends. So that's what I look at when it comes to, everybody is not for me.
Okay. Sherry, what does it mean
Yeah.
to you? Everybody's not for me.
Ooh, that's loaded. Um, Phew, gosh, I don't even know where to begin with that. Um, People show up in your life in different ways, and you have to understand whether they're there for a reason or a season. and you have to accept when it's revealed where they fit in your life. Sometimes
Okay.
we don't we don't always accept the signs, um, because we want that person to be in our lives, and that may not be they may not be a long-term person. They just may be a seasonal person.
Okay. Shauna?
Um, that's an awesome question, and it really does make you think. And the reason why I say that is because I'm an extremely social person. Okay. I speak to everybody. My cousin always teases me and say that if I wasn't as big as I was, I'd be kidnapped, right? Or she'd say that I make up, when you're small and your parents say you don't speak to strangers. She said, girl, you've been making up for it since you got grown because I talk to everybody. But as social as I am, I'm a very private person, believe it or not. So, if I really like you or really, um, accept you in, I'll love you and give whatever I have to give, and that's my time. That's my, I love wholeheartedly. And I think for me, because I am the way that I am, having had, upset or hurt with, accepting people and then being betrayed, I'll say that way, it kind of makes me a little more standoffish. So now I'm in a place of growth. I've grown a lot now. So I'm very, very, very selective about who I allow in my very personal space. Like I said, I'm very social, and it's funny because people will see me, hey bestie, hey bestie. I'm like, hey, everybody's bestie, but these people have not really been to anything private or, my inner. So it's just one of those things. But learning who's for you and who is not has been very eye-opening from my standpoint, these days. It's interesting.
Okay. Jonette?
Mhm.
Okay. Since I saw this question, Annette, I've been pondering over it and praying over it because for me, my circle changes quite frequently. And
Mm-hmm.
I used to say, well, the one thing that's constant in that is me. I'm the common denominator of that circle changing.
Mm-hmm.
And initially it really bothered me because I thought that those people who left the circle were my true friends, my
Mm-hmm.
diehards, right?
Right.
And so initially I would have it would bother me so much so that I really thought that something was wrong with me because my circle does change a lot. But then I realized, as Dosha has pointed out, and you yourself has pointed out about what the pastors say, and that everybody isn't for everybody, and also what Sherry said about there are seasons, and there are seasons when people are in your life, and there are seasons when people go away from your life. So for
Mhm.
me, I've always kept a small circle. Um, so I think too that had a really big effect on me when somebody would leave the circle
Mm-hmm.
because there are not many people in my circle. And currently,
Mhm.
I can say probably my closest circle now that my daughters are grown are my three daughters.
Okay.
Um, and then outside of them, I have a cousin who I'm strongly connected to. And then I do have some friends that I'm connected to, but I won't say anything because I might leave somebody out. And you know how that is
I
when you
do.
inadvertently leave out somebody, you don't say names because when you inadvertently leave out somebody, it starts a whole another thing, and that might be another person out your circle. So I'm very covenant with my circle. I am a ride or die friend.
Mm-hmm.
I will do anything I can for my friends that
Mhm.
I can do that I place in my circle. Oftentimes at the at a negative to me. And I have to be careful with that because
Mm.
I am a nurturing person, and I'm going to go with the zodiac signs. Although a lot of people don't fall for that, but as a Cancer, I am a nurturing, mothering person,
Oh
and
yeah.
so I tend to, when you're in, you're in, and the
Hmm.
only way you get out is if you've had taken me to a place uh, where I have either been offended or something has gone on with my family that involved that I'm not liking what's going on with you and the connection with family, or by circumstances that I have no control over. So I pray a lot when it comes to keeping people in that circle and not allowing people in the circle. And I'm prayerful that my decisions have been good thus far.
That's pretty interesting because
Hmm.
circles matter. And people are only for a season and a reason. They either come to teach us a lesson or, to be with us for a period of time, just to share.
Excuse me, ladies. I'm going to get my glasses.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel you.
Do you need yours, Jonette?
Mine are on.
I thought they were on, but I'm thinking you might need some other
I
ones.
might need another kind, right?
I don't know. But the thing is, and Dosha said it, mental illness. So
Mm.
so let's tap into that just a bit. And I salute Mrs. Day in this particular instance because she's a clinical social worker, licensed, and she deals with mental health. But one of the things that I find challenging for me in circles is when people assume that they think they know what you mean without asking.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
they take hurts, they take slights, they take what they think they know and create situations that don't exist. So, tonight,
Mm.
for our audience, one of the things I want to be clear about is, and Sharon, such a diva Harris, spoke to this, and I thanked her for it just recently on Facebook. When you have a question with a sister, don't assume, ask.
Mm.
Just ask. But the mental health issue is real. And a lot of women fight about things that don't matter. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my circle and what matters to me. I have several circles. They move out. They branch out. I have an entertainment circle. I have a family circle. I have a friends circle and I have an associates circle. All of which may include folks I do business with, just depending on where they're layered in the circle. But one of the things I've learned, and I want to talk about this, I want you guys to tell me about this, tell the audience. One of the things I've learned is not to take people personally, because I've learned, if I haven't learned anything else in my 65 years, I'm 65 years old. One of the things I know for certain and for sure is this, and I can say it with absolute conviction. Most people and their behavior happens at the very age, their behavior exhibits itself at the age that their trauma happened.
Mm.
Oh.
So we see people and they're acting real bad, and we go, that's so child. That might be the age at which their trauma happened.
Mm.
Wow.
And so that's how they project that behavior, not speaking. How are you in a room with people that you're passing and you're not speaking to them?
Mm.
If you don't see them, that's one thing. But I mean, how are you doing? That takes so much energy. So I've learned I speak to everybody like Shona. If I see you, I speak to you. Now I've had people be on the other side of the room and say, I was 50 feet away from you. I can barely see with my glasses on. And you didn't speak. I didn't see you. Did you see me? If you saw me, say hello. We got to get out of that behavior, right? And the only way to get out of the behavior has to begin with us. It has to begin with us. So for me, if I see you, I speak. I don't care if you speak or not. I've had Shauna can attest to the fact I spoke to people for years who didn't speak to me. I didn't even realize they weren't speaking to me. I didn't because
Mhm.
you know what? I spoke, I smiled, and I kept going. Acknowledge me or
That's it.
not. I wasn't caught up in that. Because here's what I know. People are people wherever you go. I don't care who they are. And when a woman is hurting, it comes across. When a woman is traumatized, it comes across. When a woman is feeling insecure, it comes across. When a woman is intimidated, it comes across. When a woman is in a situation where she thinks she's being compromised, it comes across. So, Shona, tell me what you think about that. What do
I
you think?
absolutely 300% agree. I've never heard it explained that way, that their behavior when acting out can relate or correlate to the age of a trauma, but it explains so much immature behavior. When
Exactly.
when you explain it like that, it really does explain a lot of immature behavior. I think more recently for me, I was always the person that I would just give chance after chance because I cared so much about the relationship. I would apologize even when I wasn't wrong. Just anything to keep the relationship. And then I realized, listen, if you don't care about the relationship like I care about it, I'm no longer going to put myself out there that way. And that took a lot for me because as you were saying, as a Cancer, I'm a Libra. And everything has to be, balanced out. But for me, I love with my whole heart. And
Mhm.
so for me, when I'm offended, it's really offensive to me, and it hurts because I'll go out of my way. So I think a lot of times I'm learning more recent that I'm protecting my peace. I always say I'm protecting my peace with everything in me, and I'm not feeding into any of the small things. If I've offended you, say something. I'm very approachable and we can clear it up. But now, if you feel a certain type of way and you want to go on about your bit, listen, go on about your business. There's no hard feelings. And I'm not going to feel any way about it because my thing is, I don't purposely go out of my way to hurt or harm anyone. But
Mhm.
if I've done something that maybe you found offensive, if you come and say, you know what, you did X, Y, and Z or whatever, maybe I wasn't aware, but I'm never too above saying, you know what, I apologize if that hurt your feelings. That was never the intent. And I think more recent, you have a lot of adult women who are unable to verbalize when they're hurt or offended and or when they feel a certain type of way and they can't speak on it. And I don't understand it as an adult. I take pride in being able to say what it is that I have to say and not
Mhm.
being nasty, but I take pride in being able to say what I have to say. And a lot of times you find adults, I'm calling them adults, they're unable to actually put the words to do that. So that right there translates in, well, you know what? I saw a meme on social media that says there's someone right now not speaking to you because they owe you an apology. I saw
Yeah.
that right now. You're upset with me and you're the one who offended me. But my thing is this. So I put on the underneath it and says, it's fine. Keep the apology, but also keep your space. And I'm okay with that. So it's just one of those things. We as women, especially women of color, we have to do better with when you feel a thing, say a thing. And my whole thing is if Annette offends me and I go to her and I tell her, but now she's so upset she doesn't want to speak to me anymore. I have to listen. I said what it is what it is, and I'm okay with that. So that's my take on it, ladies. A little
You're
long
gonna
winded,
I
but
find.
that's
love
my
it. I love it.
No,
take.
that's fine. No, come on with it.
I love
Cordelia,
it.
thank you for joining us tonight. And yes, this is real talk. She says, great dialogue, sisters. So
Yeah.
you're going to find that when you have a mind of your own, people are going to be intimidated,
Mm,
not necessarily by anything you do, but
mm-hmm.
because you're not in sheep mode.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
that's okay. I've learned to accept apologies that were never given for my
Mm.
peace. Come on,
ooh,
Jonette.
that's a good one.
Listen, we talking about mental health, right? And I it's about 2 months ago, I was listening to a psychologist talking about mental health, especially with Black women. And one thing he said, it was a panel. One thing he said was that we all suffer from some form of mental health,
That's
whether we
right.
want to accept it or not.
That's right.
And so after, and having that, them having their conversation, and what you said, Annette, in terms of mental, in terms of our mindset being where our trauma may have had, it was a connection because they also spoke of this. Now, yeah, uh, trauma and connection. Uh, young people, when we are young, we're in an environment that we can't control.
Right.
We're in an environment where adults basically control that environment. So depending on how your environment was set up, whether your environment was free spirited, whether your environment was contained and controlled, whether you had a combination of those factors in your life, does determine how you see things as an adult.
Right.
And I know my sister, may she be peacefully resting in heaven right now, experienced trauma when she was young, and that traumatic experience affected her for the rest of her life, way into her adult life, and to the point of her behavior was a direct result of what that trauma was that she experienced as a young person. And partly because my sister was older than I am, and that I thought I was the oldest on the panel. But thank you for taking that crown. I appreciate you, my sister.
I wear it proudly.
Only you got me by a year. That's all. But she was older than me, and in her time, when she experienced trauma, parents used to push young girls aside, and they used to let them feel like either that trauma didn't happen or that you played some role in that trauma you experienced.
Wow.
And that in and itself is traumatizing, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you experience a trauma by an adult. You go to an adult who is your parent. You tell that parent that trauma you experienced, and that parent does not
Disregards
believe
it.
you, disregards it,
Mm-hmm.
confronts the adult who caused the trauma, and that adult lies. So you come back to the child and you tell the child, well, it didn't happen, or whatever happened was your fault. That stays with you. Our children today are experiencing these types of traumas where there's something going on in their homes, whether it be by an adult, whether it be by a sibling, whether it be by a cousin, whether it be by same age, because same age traumas can have a negative effect on you as well. And
Mm-hmm.
they are fearful of expressing that trauma to someone because they don't believe they're going to get the support that they need to get. And so they act it out either in school or on the way to school or by being rambunctious with adults or whatever. So there is a lot of trauma in our neighborhoods. There's a lot of trauma with our families. There's a lot of trauma with our systems, our governmental systems, our
Yes.
systems who are supposed to protect us, and we are not paying enough attention to the mental health of what's happening in our society.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a uh, I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff, and and on this one documentary, it said 80% of America's prison population is in jail, and they have mental health issues where they shouldn't be locked up, where the trauma that they experience, where the mental health issues that they're going through should be addressed, is not being addressed. So even upon release, when they come back out, they're released into the environment that they came from. They're released without having any help in the area of mental health. And so they return to what they
Mm-hmm.
know. They return to the behaviors that they know. And so mental health plays a big role in how we maneuver in our lives and how we accept what we accept. And for those of us who may have a stronger mental acuity in handling things, it may not be as traumatic as for those who don't. And there are many who do not. And so I think mental health, I think trauma, I think having a support system, a sister circle, whatever kind of circle you want to call it. In Islam, it's called a halakha circle, where you come together and you experience, you talk about and your experiences and how to go through those experiences together as a group, is much needed today.
Jonette, you said something that's important. And before we can move any step further, I want our audience who might be on now and who will also come on later. Everybody doesn't listen to us live. Sometimes they come back and listen. Here's what I want you to know. If your daughter comes to you and tells you that something is wrong, take her word for it.
Absolutely.
If you find out later
Or
down the
son,
road
or
you're wrong,
son.
apologize, but take care of her
Yeah,
first.
Yep.
Thank you,
absolutely.
Jonette.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dosha.
Kids, period, not just girls, because the boys, they go through and they need to know that
Absolutely.
going to a parent, you should always be able to trust the parent
You're gonna be
to,
safe.
hear you and be your safe place. So, I'm a mother of boys, and I always, even from young, let them know, like, if anything ever happened, I don't care what happened, you tell me, and it's just really important, not just with girls, I mean, with boys as well. So I just wanted to interject
That's right.
that. But
That's right. You're
Absolutely.
100% right. So often we ignore the cries of a child and we think the
mhm,
child is being fast, they're
Mm-hmm.
acting out. The uncle, brother, cousin, friend, neighbor said it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't. Take your
Mm-hmm.
child's word first. You can always apologize to that adult later if you find out you're wrong. 9
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10.10, 0.11.6 times a million, you're not going to be
You're not
wrong.
wrong.
That's right.
absolutely.
Trust your child's and keep them safe. Trust your
Mhm.
child's statements and keep them safe. Dosha, you have girls. Come with it.
Yeah, I have three girls. And mental health is tough, even in any kind of relationship, whether it's friendships. And I think the thing is that just being aware. I think awareness is really, really key, and being not just aware for others, but self-aware of ourselves. Sometimes we have to, how do I say it? Tell somebody the truth now to save their future. So just being
Mhm.
work start now to really get into the mental health field and looking at what's going on in our nation and especially in the African American community. One of the things I'm realizing is that many people don't believe they have the issue. So there's a stigma there. Because of
Yeah.
that, many times people are not going to say, well, I'm not going to get help. There's nothing wrong with me. They're flipping off. You say the smallest things, they're hurt, their feelings are hurt, and you're thinking what's wrong. But it's what Annette said is where their trauma is. They're stuck in that spot. They're stuck in that space. And it's not that they're mad or angry with anyone. It's just the fact that they don't know how to get past that space, that trauma. And what we have to be more aware of is, really thinking about that. Why did that person get that angry about something? My mom used to tell me something. She told me something about myself. And what she said was this. She would tell me something, it would be the truth. And so she said, I want you to do me a favor. Ask yourself, why are you getting angry? Why do you get angry? Is it the truth or is it not the truth? So sometimes when it comes to mental health, we're not really understanding that. And just to be transparent, I dealt with that myself. And one of the things I dealt with was coming out of domestic violence and really almost getting close to a nervous breakdown. So you don't know where somebody's having an issue and mental health is happening. One of the things that happens to people is that they carry those things with them for a long time, and you're not sure what's going on in their lives. So you got to be like we just got to be really careful. Yes, we got to worry about our circle. Yes, we got to worry about who gets close to us. We got to worry about who gets close to our kids. My daughters, I had a daughter who told me something happened to her. Guess who will leave their daughter? Me.
That's right.
Not flip it around not one time. I told her that. And when she told me, instantly, I believed her. Not think about it, not thought about it, not none of that. It was just real. Okay, we get ready to do something about it. Okay, that is where we have to be when it comes to mental health. Our daughters, our children, the people we know. That's why people would always say to me, I know I can tell you this, because they can. So I want to be a safe space. And that's what I'm looking for when I'm talking about friendship, and bring this all back around to mental health and friendship and who should be in my circle. I'm looking for a safe space. If you're that safe space where someplace I can be confidential, somebody I can tell something to, somebody that's not going to run back and tell somebody else. And again, we all know that we're mandated reporters, so if it's something that's crazy, we're going to say it. But I'm looking, when it comes to that, for mental health, or anything in my life, friendship, I'm looking for a safe space.
Can I say something for just to make a point on what she just said? Being the safe space sometimes can be a hard space to sit in. When you have individuals in your circle and you're the ear, to try to be the voice of reason.
Yep.
And a safe place for people to land. A lot of time, what I found, people sometimes view that as like an emotional dumping ground, if you will. And my cousin oftentimes tells me, listen, okay, you have to stop allowing people to come in and dump on you. And it never really felt like that to me, because I'm like this as a friend, or as a good support system to someone who I care for and love, friends and things. If you have an issue and you call me and you want to explain it, talk about it or whatever, I'm going to be that ear, I'm going to be that shoulder, and I try to be that. But what I found is once the conversation is over, I'm so wore out emotionally and mentally, like wore out, that I had to try to find a balance for me, because you come to me and you tell me these things, and I want to be, a good support for you, and, stand with you and things like that, and just offer the soundest advice I can, to try to, but what I found is after you give me this information, I then sit back as your friend. I'm worried for you, and then I'm in my mind like, well, I hope the person is safe, and so I had to step back a little bit with just allowing people to come and just dump, like I would talk and I would say, well, listen, I want you to, just kind of think about, what you got going on or whatever, and I'll excuse myself off the phone or however I have to, just so that I wouldn't take it all in, because for me, I would take it in and hold it. And mental illness is a huge, and I am a huge advocate for a lot of the different resources and stuff, because people don't know what we have. I had a family member that was ill that I took care of for a long time and was not aware of the different resources and things like that. So once I educated myself and got the different resources and different things, and I even worked in a field where working with the mentally ill was like a day-to-day thing. When you see different areas, like I'll give you guys an example. There's another county here in New Jersey, and they really put in place something that was so profound for people with mental illness that, here we have the crisis center and things like that. But there, for example, here in our county, if say, for example, I'm having an issue with someone who has a mental illness, the police will come out, and 9 times out of 10, if the person is acting out or whatever, it could result in an arrest. But this other county, they put a system in place where they had like a special force, if you will, like certain cops that deal solely with the mentally ill and the resources that they had put in place and everything. So if, for example, we go to Sherry's house and we know Sherry suffers with this illness, Sherry's not going to get locked up. Okay, what we will do is take her to the off hour, like triage area, because they had it set up for after hours. she could then get the medication that she needed, and then she could be returned home, as opposed to being arrested. When a lot of times they have mental illness, they should never just be arrested, and that they put that system in place. And I took like a training in that county, so I knew for a fact it was awesome that they cared enough about their mentally ill people to put something in place and say, you know what, listen, we're going to try to do what we can to aid the families, to aid the people who are caring for them. And you have a lot of people, Dosha said, you don't think you have a mental illness. There's not a person who suffers with a mental illness most times, a serious one, who will say, listen, I'm suffering. Because a person who suffers with mental illness really, truly do believe the things that they're saying. Like we'll give an example, like a schizophrenic person, who suffers with paranoia. They really believe that these things are happening. So you may say, well, listen, we know that that's not the case, but they believe it with every fiber of their being, so it's difficult to try to convince somebody, listen, like you might have a little bit of a problem when they're really in fear for their lives or they feel a certain way, so that's one of those things that is very difficult to manage, especially for family members. Like, Dosha says she had an issue where it was her circumstance that was causing that breakdown, so, and that's understandable, so you're able to pinpoint and say, you know what, listen, that was so much pressure I was going through. It was causing me to feel a certain way, but then you have some people who suffer with a thing. They're not even really even aware, but these are people who they show up to your jobs every day. They show up in the way that they can show up, and it manifests itself in so many different ways. You may park too close to somebody's car and they blow up and go off, or, you're walking, and open up a door or something, and it's just small little triggers will send a person off and you looking like, well, what's wrong with them? So it really is huge. It's huge. And a lot of times us in our community, Black women, oh, they just have an attitude. We're real dismissive sometimes with people. Oh, she just got an attitude. That's just the way she is. When really us as Black women, right, we hold and we carry a lot of different things, whether it's problems from our family, problems from other, children. We walk around and we hold and we shoulder a lot of things, so you never know what people go through. So always just try to give people grace. Give them grace, because you just never know.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Sorry, Sherry. I was a little long-winded, girl. Jump on in there.
This is a discussion. It's a discussion.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Sherry. You're muted.
We can't hear you. Say something.
So while Sherry is unmuting, here's what I want you to know. Give a sister grace. You never know what a sister is going through. Give her grace. As we build our circles, give her grace. Give her grace. Be kind. And you never know the battles people are fighting in the background. Whether there's mental illness,
absolutely,
family issues, domestic violence, issues with our children, our grandchildren, our community, you never know. Just give them grace. Just imagine if we give people grace, what a difference it'll make. So as we build our circles, it's okay to have those outer circles. It's your inner circle, the closest one to you, that you have to protect. And you have to be sure that that circle is working in and for you and in your best interest. Cordelia, type something in there and tell us what you think about building circles. We'd like to hear from you. And for those who come on later, feel free to type in the comments what you think a circle, a good circle, that inner circle looks like. Because people are intimidated by a host of things, but that has what people think of you have absolutely nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. And if you stop taking it so personal, I guarantee you'll build great associations. You'll build great circles and you'll bring people in that can benefit from what you have to offer. I always want to be in a
No
circle
kidding.
where I can level up. Like I know what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are. And I want to be in a circle where I can level up. So if that means that I'm with Jonette and she's a great writer, I want to be with her. Writing's not my strong point. So I want to be with people who can help me with that. I want to be with people who can help me maintain a stoic behavior when it comes to people misbehaving. I don't want to respond to people who misbehave. And I want everybody in our audience to take this home with you tonight, now and later. And that's this: I am not responsible for how people feel or think about me. My reputation is what other people think. My character and how I behave in building my friendships, my associations, my business partnerships is what I actually do. It's what I actually do.
Mhm.
And I think that if we'll give people a chance, if we'll just give them a chance, we'll find out they might not meet the inner circle criteria, but they might meet the second, third, or fourth layer. And we can learn from them. I want to learn from people. I want to learn from women. I want to hear what other people think and what they're doing. I reach out to different areas. Like I'll boost this later to Norfolk, Virginia, right? For example, I'll boost it to North Carolina because I want to hear what other people are thinking. And that's important for me.
Mhm.
And being stoic in how I deal with people is I'm responsible for nurturing my mind and my responses. I'm not responsible for other people. I'm responsible for me. So in building our circles, Sherry, can you hear us? We
We
can't
can't hear
hear you.
you.
We can't hear you. So in building our other circles, what's important is for us to recognize that people are going to be people. There's mental illness. There's women who are suffering with intimidation because you have a mind of your own. There are people who are
Mm.
suffering. And Cordelia says, circles for me are sacred. I found out early on that when things are good, the circle is huge. But when trouble comes, the circle had few. That's right. That's why the inner circle is important. When people are good to you, no matter where you are, honor them and be with them. When people move away, it's okay for you to move away as well. It's okay. Doesn't mean you're mad, doesn't mean you have a problem. It simply means that you're saying, you know what? I recognize where you are, who you are, what you're capable of, and what you bring to my circle. And I'm going to put you where you need to be for me. That's okay. Do it. It's okay. Reach out to women, talk to them, share with them. Don't ever walk past a woman, especially a sister, without speaking to her. Don't do it. And if others do it, continue to speak because guess what? You don't want to be who they are. They're struggling.
That's it.
Don't be
Mhm.
who they are. And so we're going to wrap this up and I'm going to ask for a few things. The first thing is I want to know for you, I want to hear from each of you what you think about uh, circles and what you can do to improve yours. Sherry, can you hear us now?
I can hear y'all fine. Can you hear me now?
Yes. So
We
come
can hear
on.
you too. Yep.
So this
Okay,
is
great.
the final question. What do you think about circles and what do you do to build yours? What needs to happen for you
Ooh.
to have this is everybody's question, but because we lost you for a bit, we're bringing you back in first. What does your inner circle look like? What do you need to be comfortable in your inner circle? For example, in my inner circle, I need to have women who are confident in themselves, who are who can teach me things in my inner circle. That's that closest circle. I need to
Mm-hmm.
have I need to be around women who are experiencing different people, places, and things. I need to be around women who are not caught up in what others think about them, but are caught up in what they're doing, what they're actually doing. What are your thoughts on that, Sherry?
Well, I've been listening to what you're saying about having the different circles, having your inner circle, having your friend circle, having your associate circle, having even your business associates circle.
That's
And
right.
um, I'm learning as I've gotten older how to place people in the circles in my life.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, and it's a growth process
Yes.
because
Absolutely.
as I'm growing, there's things that I may have accepted and tolerated in a younger version of myself that doesn't work anymore. There's behaviors that I may have tolerated in my younger self that I no longer tolerate. Like Shona said, maybe in that you said it earlier. It's about protecting my peace. Right now, my focus is on building my businesses, and that's my priority. So if my commitments to my business doesn't coincide with a social event or a social circle or something like that, then that's fine. I just have to miss it. Um, and I think when you start to grow in that way, you that
Yes.
helps you identify your circle as well. Because um, there was this thing I got in an email or I saw it somewhere, maybe on social media, about everybody can't be in your front row.
That's right. That's your inner circle.
That's everybody can't be in your front row. And that's always in the back of my mind in dealing with people. Um, and the other thing I didn't get a chance to comment on because of my technical difficulties were when we were talking about the trauma and the
Mm-hmm.
hurt, grief also
Yes.
an emotion and sends people down a mental path. And how they deal with that grief can be anger, lashing out. They can become um, addicted or dependent
Mm.
upon, alcohol or other things, and and
Mm-hmm.
and and masking their feelings and how they're coping, and that could also, not be so much mental. I mean, it is kind of mental health in a way, but they may not see it as mental health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, hope I answered the questions.
You
That was
did.
good.
And thank you for sharing because this is how, we help boost each other up. I want to thank Cordelia for joining us tonight and, sharing and talking about the dialogue that we're having because it matters so much. And eventually, we're going to get back to generational curses too and how they impact us. And generational curses are not just in families, they happen with friendships, they happen with employment, they happen, it's based on how we're groomed. So, Dosha, come on, bring us in.
uh, wow, that inner circle. So I know that people can either hurt you or heal you. And what I mean by heal you is that you'll have people that come in that help you grow. Um, I also know that friendships in my inner circle at this point in time, like I said, I think I'm a little isolated right now. But one of the things I do desire to have my inner circle is something that you said, Annette, and I want to grow. So the more I grow, the more that I know people will fall off. I've had people fall off all of my life. I've never been a follower. I like people. I love talking to people. I'm sort of like Shauna. I don't care who you are. I'll speak to the wall. It don't matter. But
That's right.
at the same time, I have friends now or people that I know that we should be really cool. If I see them now, you got to see us come and embrace each other because we just fell off. We didn't hate each other. We just fell off. So it's okay if that happens. Um,
Yep.
for my inner circle, my thing is again, I'm in this place now. I'm going somewhere that God wants to take me. So I gotta be ready to get to that place. Because of that, I gotta make sure that the right people are there and they're pouring into me. And because I know that I'm a student and I'm the posture of a student, Dosha is in there like this. Wait, I don't know what that is. Can you tell me what that is? I want to learn that. I have no issue.
Yes.
Like some people do. They want to pretend like they know everything. I don't know
Bless
everything.
you.
So I want to learn. And so right now, for me, my circle where I want to be, I want it to be very cohesive. Um, again, we all know we have those outer layers of people and places and things. And I don't want anybody in the background. Somebody said this. Somebody made a statement. They said, "Do you want friends or fans?" I want friends because
All
Yes.
fans
right.
when they got for the rah-rah season. I want the people that are going
Mm-hmm.
to when things are hard, when things are bad, when things are good, when things are tight, when things are right, whatever it is, those are the people that I want in my inner circle. So no, I want friends, not fans.
We have a Facebook person who says, keep your circle tight. That's your inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And keep it small. You have to uplift one another. Absolutely. Cordelia says, really enjoyed this conversation. Stay safe and be well, my sisters.
Thank you, Cordelia.
So come on,
Thank
Jonette.
you.
Thank you, Cordelia. And thank you to our Facebook user, Jonette.
Okay. For my inner circle, the first and the utmost thing must be that I have to be able to trust you. Um, and I need you to be truthful with me.
Yes.
I need you to tell me when I'm doing something that you feel may not be correct. I need you to express to me your feelings about what may be happening or not happening. The biggest thing, and I need you not to lie. That's one of
That's
my pet peeves is lying.
yeah.
I don't want you to lie to me or to lie about a situation or a circumstance. I need that trust. I need that honesty. And right now, for me, I'm going through some kind of mental transitional phase. I don't quite know where I'm at right now. But what
Hmm.
I do know is that I don't want a lot of people around me. I want to be able to choose. I think Sherry said it. If I get invited to a thing, I may say yes, and something may come up where I need to make a choice, and that choice may be that I have to not attend a thing that I had said yes to, but I will in maybe 95% of those circumstances, I will let the person know I'm unable to attend. Something came up, I may not feel well or whatever, and I don't need that to be held against me, because if we are friends and true friends, then that should be accepted, because we can't be everywhere all the time, and things do come up. But my biggest thing is trust. I gotta be able to trust you if I'm gonna bring you into me, and that's something that is very, very challenging for me to let somebody into my inner circle. So if I'm going to pull you into my inner circle, I have to be able to trust you. I have to I have to feel comfortable around you, and I have to know that if we have a bad day, it's just that day, that hour, that minute, or whatever it is that happened, and it's not going to carry over for days, weeks, months, whatever, because we all have bad days. And if
That's right.
you have an inner circle and you can't have a bad day in your inner circle, then that's your outer circle. Get rid of it. You
That's
don't need
right.
it.
That's right.
So, like I said, trust is the number one thing. Lying is number two. And I need for them to be at a level where we can learn from each other. I don't have to be the smartest person in the room, and oftentimes I know I'm not, because I like to learn. I will ask questions. I don't have to be in the front line. I could be in the back row, and I'm okay. I'm comfortable with that. And I need that respect. I also need that respect for you to respect that. Like if I say to you, like if we're hanging out or whatever, a group of us are hanging out or whatever, and the group wants to go, to Z, and I want to go to Y, let me go to Y. I'm cool with that. So if I'm cool with going to Y, let me go to Y. Y'all go to Z, and then we can meet up with W later. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we don't all
Yeah.
have to always be right there under each other. We can give each other
That's right.
space. And that's important also. I need space. So that's important also in my close circle, knowing that, knowing when to provide space, knowing when too much space is too much, and knowing how to pull back. So that's where I'm at with that.
John Day is here and he says, friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they are there. Yes, John Day, that's true. Come on, Shauna, we got a few minutes. Wrap it up for us.
Okay. So with a inner circle, I often joke and say that my circle is a dot. And that is just a true statement for me. And I think trust plays a huge part in it. I'm not very trusting, but I think that's because of past betrayals. And I can be so loyal to a fault sometimes. And like you expressed, Jonette, to your own detriment. And I'm learning how to take a step back, and to not forget me when being the friend to people, but also requiring that same friendship in return. So for me, building the circle, I think I had to basically kind of start from ground zero, if you will, because I do have friends that I've had friends for years. We don't see each other all the time, but we can get on the phone, we talk, we meet up, we see each other, and it's great. But I'm just not a huge fan of just letting new people in. I'm just not, because of trust. But do I want it? Absolutely. Like I said, I'm really social, love to be out and things like that. But I think that's going to take a little more work with me to be able to, be a little more trusting. But just like Jonette said, I don't do liars. There's no reason for it. As adults, there's no reason for that, because at the very end of the day, say what you mean what you say, stand on it. But it's no reason to be lying and all of that stuff. I'm also just in a place where I don't want to gossip. That's just not where I'm at in life. Like, don't come to me with I'm not interested, So for me, we can talk and things like that, laugh and joke, but I don't want to hear about this person. I just don't. So I think I take myself out of a lot of things, and then when being invited to a lot of things, I'm just like, nah, thank you, but nah, and a lot of times my presence is wanted because I can be such a ball of fun, if you will. Okay, to toot my own horn, I can be just so, and people want that energy there, but I can't sacrifice me to be the life of your party, So I'm learning, and I'm trying to do a little bit better with, extending myself out, but it takes time. So, strong circle, absolutely. Trust, absolutely. Just somebody I can count on and depend on. I don't need you to pay my bills or anything like that, but just be able to be accountable and hold me accountable, because I would do the same for you. A lot of times we have people who they don't really want to be accountable to anything. So that's huge for me. Accountability, huge for me. So those are just a few things that I would look for moving forward. But again, like I said, I'm a work in progress. Okay, y'all. And I'm going to get that together, okay?
Thank you. Tonight I've had the magnificent
Mhm.
four, and they're back because they're back by request from some of our audience and our producers. Dosha Brown, Sherry Wallace, Jonette Smart, and Shauna Ingram. You can look for them,
Mhm.
and hopefully, I'll be able to convince them to create their own podcast and share about the things that matter most to them. I'm Annette. I'm your host here at Word on the Curb. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Check us out. Put our business in the streets. It's okay. Take away from this two things. Number one, your circle matters. It does.
Absolutely.
You have four layers of circles: your inner circle, your family, your friends, your associates, five, and your business partners. And sometimes they will intertwine. Be careful about who gets in where. And remember, your reputation is simply who people think you are and say you are. Your character is what you actually do. Jonette,
That's right.
Shona, Sherry, and Dosha, you have to come back. They want more of you. Thank you. I appreciate you. This is the Sister Circle. It's the circle at the curb, at Word on the Curb. And we're talking
That's
about things
right.
that impact sisters, YouTube and Facebook. Cordelia and John, thank you for joining us. For those who will join us later, thank you. You all have a good night, and we'll see you again soon. The Sister
Good
Circle will
night.
increase and be back
Signing
to share our stories with you.
Thank you. Good
You
night,
all, good
all.
Good
night.
Amen.
night.
Good
Loved
night.
it.
Jonette,
Mhm.
Shauna, Sherry, and Dosha, thank you. Thank
You're
you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
welcome. Good night.
Good
Mhm.
night.
Good night.